Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Am I getting a whole lot of... Yeah, I'm all right? Okay. It just is a little unnerving. By the way, he's back. Yesterday I told you that floor producer extraordinaire Marty was out for the day. And after going through only the second time maybe in 20 plus years of doing a show without having Marty here, I got to tell you, brother, I've come to the conclusion, I love you, man. No, Katie, don't take that the wrong way. Katie did a good job yesterday, but she ain't no Marty. And that's no knock on you, Katie. There's only one Marty, okay? There's only one. So don't take that personal, but I love you, man. Good to have you back, brother. As always, good to have you back. We start today's show talking about news and education circles here, particularly in the capital region. This evening, the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board is scheduled to decide what the upcoming calendar year is going to look like for public schools in EBR. You may well know that a new superintendent, Cito Narcisse, came up with a pretty ambitious plan to return to school early. And it was met with a resounding, say what? It was not well received, due in large part, if you believe the feedback from parents and teachers, it was due in large part to the fact that they felt as though they were not consulted thoroughly before the decision was made. As a result, Superintendent Narcisse now has on the agenda a different return schedule. The July date to return is no longer under consideration by school officials. Instead, teachers are now expected to return to campus around August 2nd. Students will likely return to school a week after that. Other changes to the new school year will probably include a shift in spring break, moving it from the week before Easter to the week after. In addition, the school year has been extended by 8 days. Now, at face value, it sounds like you're going to tack 8 days on to the end of the school year and, quote, extend it for 8 days. Not necessarily. Those 8 days are expected to be distributed throughout the school year, meaning you add certain number of hours here, more hours there, some more hours someplace else, and over time it will end up equating to 8 additional days. We will keep our eye on this as it all unfolds, and hopefully this evening at 5 o'clock, a final decision will be made in that regard, and we can just move on from there. In a somewhat sad / celebration of life category, funeral services have now been announced for the LSU freshman whose body was found in the Mississippi River after her car crashed on the Horace Wilkinson / I-10 / New Bridge here in Baton Rouge. Funeral services for Corey Gaucher will be held at 10:30 on April 24th at Our Savior's Church in Opelousas, Louisiana. The interment is set for St. Leo the Great Catholic Cemetery in Leonville. Corey is survived by both parents, 3 brothers, and 2 sisters. It goes without saying, I mean, you guys know me well enough. You've watched the show or listened to a show for years now, and you know full well that I am indeed a man of faith. And I would feel certainly remiss in my duties if I did not ask those of you who likewise belong to the community of faith if you would be so kind as to keep the Gaucher family in your thoughts and in your prayers. You've heard me say any number of times before that God in his infinite wisdom did not design the family such that parents are expected to bury their children. Children are supposed to bury their parents. Anything other than that goes against the natural order of things. And this is something that for most of us, unless you've been there and done that, you can only guesstimate. And yes, I know what I said, not estimate. You can only guesstimate the burden that this family is carrying. So if you can, I'm sure the family would appreciate your attendance at the services in Opelousas. If not, well, again, I simply ask that you be so kind as to keep those good folks in your thoughts and in your prayers. Speaking of sad news for the education community here in South Louisiana, the Baton Rouge Police Department is currently looking for a number of vehicles involved in a recent hit and run just on the outskirts of the campus of Southern University that resulted in the death of 18-year-old Quiron Williams. He died Tuesday, several days after a wreck near the intersection of Scenic Highway and Harding Boulevard. As many times as I have been through that intersection, I've never viewed it as being a, quote, dangerous intersection. But I found out just this morning in reading various news accounts that an individual forwarded a letter last year, if memory serves correct, saying that something needs to be done about this intersection, particularly as it relates to maybe installing a crosswalk of sorts for pedestrians. And before that correspondence ended up being answered, we now have a fatality there. The department, Baton Rouge Police Department, BRPD, says that they believe young Mr. Williams was struck by two different vehicles, neither of whom stopped at the scene. They are of the opinion, is the BRPD, that the two vehicles involved are, number one, a 1992 through 1999 Chevy truck, pickup truck, or Suburban. Also, a 2014 through 2016 Toyota Corolla. Typically, if you know anything at all about forensics, you know in an accident of this nature, there's going to be damage and there's going to be, quote, evidence from the vehicles left at the scene. Typically, it will involve a turn signal lens, a headlight lens, something of that nature, where you can look at that particular piece off of a car and know that, oh, okay, this comes from a Chevy. They used that cover from 19 whatever to 2000 whenever. So keep that in mind if you would. Again, the two vehicles believed to have been involved are a 1992 to 1999 C1500 Chevy pickup truck or Suburban and a 2014 to 2016 Toyota Corolla. It is particularly sad to me because if you know anything at all about HBCUs and the African American community, particularly as it pertains to young black men that are enrolled in college, to lose one as promising as this young man was in this manner is particularly egregious. If you've been on an HBCU campus anytime in the last, 20, 30 years, you know full well that the ratio of females to males is astronomical. There are far too few young black men on the campuses of our institutions of higher learning. And quite frankly, for our community and for this country, for that matter, they are the future. And to see this young man attempt to further his education and be a productive citizen in society, to lose him in this fashion, that one's a tough one to swallow. If by chance you happen to have any information that you think police need to know, and again, I've dealt with law enforcement enough on this show over the years to know that there is no bit of information too small. You and I, as lay people, we may look at something and say, oh, well, it's probably inconsequential. I don't think this would matter much in an investigation. Y'all accept this in the spirit that it's given, because you know me. But we are not the professionals here. They are the professionals. And what may look to you and I as something that's inconsequential may be just a bit of information they need to break the case. If you saw anything, if you think you know anything, 225, Baton Rouge area code, 389-7819 is the number to call. 225-389-7819. Understanding that the natural order of things is such that Children are supposed to bury their parents. Parents are not supposed to bury their children. Understanding that, if you can, help this family. They deserve it. First break of today's show. We'll get it done. We'll come back and talk more with you right where you've got it on today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf & Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I hate being blessed/cursed with the ability, God-given, I might add, to many times see things clearly for what they are. If you were with us earlier in the week, particularly right on the heels of the George Floyd verdict, you will remember that I very distinctly told you, get ready for an inundation, an onslaught, if you will, of individuals saying all sorts of things in an effort to capitalize on this tragedy. It has become part and parcel of the media/politicians' agenda when we find ourselves in this country dealing with anything involving race, that they go out of their way to use it to make political hay. Many times you end up with individuals saying and or doing things that simply leave you speechless. Now listen, I get it. I understand. There are people out there that will, at every opportunity, use any tragedy, regardless of what it is, to make political hay. I get it. Listen, I've been doing this for 41 years, y'all. I've seen it in every form and fashion. So as a result, when things like the George Floyd situation happen, I know what's coming. And right on cue, they didn't fail to disappoint. Nancy Pelosi is now taking serious heat for a statement made after the verdict was announced. Her statement said in part, quote, "Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? To call out for your mom, I can't breathe. But because of you, thousands and millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice." Now, let me say for the record, I in no way, shape, or form have any way of getting into the mind, the head, the spirit of George Floyd's family. But I gotta think that they would much rather have him here. And the inference here is that you, quote, sacrificed your life. As you might imagine, folks on social media, particularly those who reside far left, the response, absolutely brutal. For example, Pelosi thanking George Floyd for his sacrifice continues the tradition of white people in power seeing us as black pawns on their ivory chessboards. George Floyd's life mattered before he was murdered. Another post. He didn't sacrifice his life. He was brutally, horrifically murdered. What the hell is Nancy Pelosi talking about? Another post. After hearing Nancy Pelosi's comments on George Floyd, my only political opinion is that we should stop electing really old people to office and enforce term limits. And the list goes on and on and on. Now, in many instances in life, and if God blesses you to get older, you will see this and experience this for yourself. In many instances, you find out more about people, what happens after a tragedy, than you find out from the tragedy itself. In today's world, in between the celebrities and the politicians, and of course, the media, not a day goes by when they don't, in a rush, to paint themselves as something that they really aren't, they let it slip out what they're actually all about. Nancy Pelosi, bless her little old heart, and that's the great thing about being in South Louisiana. You can say anything about anybody as long as you preface it or end it with, bless your little old heart. Bless her little old heart, Nancy is not alone in this regard. King James, LeBron, catching big-time flack as well. Right before the verdict was announced, you've probably seen now, there was another officer-involved shooting involving a teenage female, Ma'Khia Bryant. Sure you've heard about that by now. Just so happens someone snapped a picture of an officer on scene at the shooting. And without any facts, without nowhere near all the information, he decides to retweet the picture with the caption, all caps, "You're next." Hashtag accountability. You know what's truly sad about that? If he is honest with himself, and if you are honest with yourself, you very quickly realize if the officer had been black or the victim had been white, he never would have written a single word. If you are honest with yourself, the only reason he felt compelled to tweet about this is because he thought white folks and the po-po were the victims, were the demons here. Listen, y'all. When you occupy a position of power and or influence, your first responsibility is to doing the right thing. With the platform that LeBron James has, if he is truly that concerned about homicides in the black community, can you imagine what LeBron could do with one single tweet to my young brothers? Please stop killing each other. Can you imagine how far that would go in the African American community? But see, many of y'all don't have a clue what's actually going on in the black community. I guess as human beings, we all have our crosses in life to bear. And I have come to the conclusion that my cross to bear, among others, is being blessed with a platform. I have an obligation to say what is truthfully going on in the country that I love and the community in which I live. The fact of the matter is, we are allowing the media, and particularly the liberals, to brainwash us into thinking that the problem in black America is white policemen killing black men. Do you realize, and listen, I'm not a betting man. You know this. I am not a betting man. But I'll take odds that since Trayvon Martin, if you add up, I don't know, the top 10 most sensational murders, controversial, horrific murders of a young black man at the hands of police. Take the top 10 since Trayvon Martin, Trayvon included, and then add up the number of young black men who have been murdered by other young black men, and the two numbers will literally take your breath away. I'm not a betting man, but I'll take odds that while you have this 10 right here, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of young black men murdered by other young black men. There's a thing called a what's the phrase? A proportionate response. Remember when you were growing up and mom was in the kitchen baking cookies and she took them out of the oven and the sheet pan is sitting there by the oven and you happened to walk through the kitchen and you looked and didn't see mom and you took one little cookie, okay? The response to you eating one cookie was a whole lot different than the response from the time you stole the keys and took the car on a joyride. Proportional response. This was just a cookie. This was stealing the car and endangering the lives of every member of the motoring public. So the response should have been proportionally greater. Now, don't get it twisted. Every life is important. All lives matter. Yeah, I said it, and I'm going to say it again. All lives matter. But at the end of the day, if starting today, not another single black male was ever killed by a law enforcement officer, we would still be witness to tens of thousands of young black men being murdered at the hands primarily of other young black men. And yet, all we want to march about, riot about, burn about, loot about, unjustly accuse people about, is when there's somebody white involved. You may not like it, but the truth is what the truth is. And rest assured, you turn on this station and this show, and that's just what I'm going to tell you, the truth. Bottom of the hour break. We'll get her done, come back and talk more here on the Clarence Bugg Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask, wash our hands, and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up.
Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal. Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. I need your help, guys and girls. I need you to consider something for me. And I would consider it a personal favor if you would adopt this as a part of your societal train of thought. If you stick around long enough and truly pay attention to what is going on around you, you very quickly learn that celebrity does not automatically equate to intellect. I'm going to say that again. If you learn nothing else from your buddy Clarence, in today's world, please consider it to be this. Celebrity does not automatically equate to intellect. Just because you can bounce a ball or run a good route does not mean the rest of us are particularly interested in what you have to say, nor do we think it's particularly insightful. Just because you spend your life, Hollywood, in the world of make-believe. Down a little bit, please, sir. Just because you spend your life pretending to be someone you're not, Mr. Actor or Ms. Actress, does not mean that when you open your mouth, something more profound is going to come out than out of the mouth of someone else. We have, in our sports-obsessed, celebrity-obsessed society, become of the mistaken conclusion that celebrity equals intellect. Wrong answer. Example. United States Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, and by the way, happy Earth Day to y'all today. You realize today is Earth Day, right? Well, according to Representative Cortez, climate change is caused by class, racial injustice. You heard me right. Quote, "The climate crisis is a crisis born of injustice, and it is a crisis born of the pursuit of profit at any and all human and ecological costs, which means that we must recognize in legislation that the trampling of indigenous rights is a cause of climate change, that the trampling of racial justice is a cause of climate change." You know, now I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone because I'm about to get in trouble, Marty. This woman, just when you thought the barrel of stupid had been drained, just when you thought that was the case, in comes the guy with a dolly and a fresh, untapped barrel of stupid just waiting to be opened and served to the public. Of course, now, again, the easiest way to push an agenda on people is to use something that they cannot touch, taste, see, or smell. There's no easier or more powerful way to scare the bejesus out of people than to tell them there's something out there that you can't touch, taste, see, or smell. Not only that, but when you can apply it to a specific group of individuals, particularly based on the color of their skin, oh, by God, you got something you can work with now, buddy. You know, the next election, congressional, when she has to run, is really going to be interesting to watch. We in this country have forsaken the time-honored tradition of voting for the best person for the job. And it's not just in voting, it's also in our approach to everyday life. For example, I'm watching one of the local newscasts this morning, preparing to come in for the show. And there's a story about our state's flagship university narrowing down the list of finalists for president to 8 candidates. She's talking about the makeup of the 8 individuals that are now finalists for the position. And she says very condescendingly, there's only one woman in the 8 finalists. Well, come to find out, only 3 females applied for the job. Now, I don't know about you, but if only 3 applied and 1 made the final list of 8, that's a more than respectable percentage. But that doesn't fit the narrative. What I am sorely afraid of for the country that I love is that we have now allowed ourselves to arrive at a point in time where we're no longer interested solely in having the best person for the job. All we want is someone who looks like what we want. You know, you can say what you will about the greatest generation, but I can very distinctly remember my late father and mother on more than one occasion. I would come home with a grade that they knew, I knew, and my teacher knew was well below what I was capable of. And one time, I made the mistake in attempting to explain how it was I came home with this grade that was well below what I was capable of earning. I made the mistake of saying, she doesn't like me. OMG. The first thing out of my mother's mouth, and I'll never forget, she said, her job is not to like you. Her job is to teach you. My father, God bless him, then chimed in, adding, your job is not to like her. Your job is to learn what she is teaching you. At the end of the day, you know what they wanted for me? The best teacher in every freaking class I took. They didn't care if it was male or female, black or white, conservative or liberal, atheist or spiritual. They didn't care. They simply wanted the best teacher in every class that their children took. That's all. because they understood if they did their job at home and the teacher did the teacher's job at school, I would then be equipped. When I reached age and went out into the world, I would be equipped as best I could to be the best individual I could. At some point, because all things are cyclical, if you've not experienced this yet, as the old folks say, just keep living. All things are cyclical. You ever watch a pendulum? It will swing all the way in one direction until all that energy has been expended, at which point it swings back the other way. And it continues until eventually the arc gets shorter and shorter and shorter until it stops. That's what society does. It swings in one direction and then back in another. We are at the point now where, sadly, we no longer care for having the best person for the job. We simply want equity and equality. And the hell with how it works out for us. You can say what you will, but at the end of the day, that is not going to serve America well. Heading up to the final break of today's show. Speaking of those 8 finalists for the presidency of our state's flagship university, we'll give you those after we take our final break. We got to get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we wrap up another week of the Clarence Buggs Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
We're making 2021 the year of savings, and it starts right now at Team Toyota. Come get a new 21 Corolla for just $189 a month, or get a 20 Camry for just $19,995. It's a year full of savings starting right now, right here at Team Toyota.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I do have to admit one thing. In the midst of watching being inundated and in many cases berated with the whole systemic racism narrative, one thing I am hopeful / grateful in regard to this whole sordid affair. And that is that the more the left harps on the systemic racism of America, the more we will take the time to honestly evaluate, analyze, look deeply into who's been in charge of most of this stuff while all this has happened. You do realize, do you not, in the cities where systemic racism is the worst, it is liberals who have been in charge for decade after decade after decade after decade. So what they are doing, in essence, is exposing themselves. We now have, as the leader of the free world, a guy who was responsible for co-authoring legislation that led to the incarceration of more black people in this country than any single piece of legislation since Jim Crow. Joe Biden co-wrote the legislation that led to more black folk going to prison than any other law since Jim Crow. He was so proud of this bill, he nicknamed it the, quote, lock the SOBs up bill. And this is a guy that will preach to me about systemic racism. You've been in public life for almost 50 freaking years. What have you done to fix the problem? Some of which you are directly responsible for. So while my natural inclination is to say, these folks are full of mess, dismiss the whole systemic racism argument. But upon further review, if I could use a sports-related axiom, upon further review, listen to them and analyze what they're telling you. You know, they say if you stick around long enough, you find out who your real friends are. Let people talk long enough, and you find out what they really are all about. AOC, of all people, will preach to me about the sanctity of black life. And yet, she is in Congress representing a portion of New York where for 3 straight years, more black babies were aborted than were born live. 2015 to 2018, in the largest city in the United States of America, 18,000 more black babies were aborted than were born. How dare you pretend to preach to me about the sanctity of black life? You freaking hypocrite, you. And you will look me in my face, won't bat an eye, and think I'm stupid enough to let you preach to me about the sanctity of black life. If it wasn't a family show, I'd tell you what you really are. But you know what? What's even more hurtful than that is the fact that you think I'm so stupid that I can't read between the lines and figure out who you really are. At the end of the day, if you listen long enough and you can read between the lines, you find out what people really are and what they're all about. Now, if you happen to be about good service and fabulous old school barbecue, you need to come see us at 10655 Coursey Boulevard at Bayou Smokehouse, the home of old school barbecue. I think I got a new favorite, Marty. I think I got it. The brisket sandwich. Oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You talked about slamming. They call it beef butter. I think that's the nickname, beef butter, because it melts in your mouth like butter. Listen, the ribs, off the hook. The sausage, when I say everything here is made from scratch, every morning they grind the stuffing for their own sausage, season it, shoot it in the casing, take it out and smoke it. Everything is good, but Lord have mercy, the brisket. Now, we're South Louisiana folk. Well, goodbye to you. We're South Louisiana folk, so we know the food has to be as appealing to the eye as it is to the palate, and you got to have great service. Don't you deserve all of it in one fell swoop? Of course you do. Good news is, there's a brand new place where you can get it all. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Bayou Smokehouse, the home of old school barbecue. Tell you what, come on by. If not, if you're happy living a deprived life, well, my friends, that's up to you. Just don't say that your buddy Clarence didn't tell you. Time's up, and I gotta go. And this day, maybe more so than any other, I give it to you. You're right. America, we are nowhere near perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And you know I do too. Then again, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you Monday. God bless.